I'm excited to be able to chat with you, Teresa. So I'm just going to say welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I'm so honored. When you asked me, I was just blown away, honestly, but I'm excited to be here. So thank you.
Were you thinking, why me? Why me, Teresa?
100%. 100%. Complete imposter syndrome. Just thinking, gosh, why does he want to have me? But why me? But I'm excited.
Are you ready to hear why you? Why Teresa Rohr?
I am. Truthfully, I am. Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to tell you exactly why. So first of all, Teresa is a travel designer with Pink Pineapple Travel Company out of Michigan. Is the headquarter out of Michigan? Is Pink Pineapple Travel out of Michigan? Or I know with travel designers and travel advisors, you can be anywhere. Sure. Is there a headquarter office per se?
It's a home-based headquarter office out of Fishers, Indiana, and several of the agents on our team live in that area, but there are a few of us that are sprinkled throughout the U.S. as well. I'm the only one in Michigan right now.
All right. Well, very cool. Okay. So I'm going to tell you some nice things about you.
Okay.
And I am hitting record. So all of our listeners are going to be able to hear this. The name of the podcast is Most People Don't, But You Do. I had the pleasure of meeting Teresa at the ALGV Kindness Conference. And our listeners are going to get pretty familiar with hearing me talk about ALG vacations and so many great people. And Ray and Jackie, in fact, Ray was just on the podcast. I pushed it out last week. So you are following Ray Snitsky, group president.
Yes, I know, cool. Right? Humbling.
Yeah. And I want to tell you reasons why I wanted to get you involved. There were a nice amount of travel designers, travel advisors, travel industry friends, and you were doing some things that most people weren't doing, Teresa. And I noticed that right away. You were moving and sitting toward people that maybe you did not know. I think you shared with me, it was your first time to the conference?
It was my first time in the conference, and I didn't know anyone there, to be honest with you. Did not know a single person there. And I tend to be a little bit more of an introvert. So that's a big deal for me to enter this room with all of these people feeling major imposter syndrome from the get-go and not know a soul. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I love about the Kindness Conference is that it is encouraging people to be able to go outside of their comfort zone and realize that you're not alone. And we can, even if you feel like you don't belong to be there, you can write KIND, I include others, and you can reach out. And that's what I started to see you do. So thank you for that. That immediately stood out to me. Phenomenal other people, but we had the opportunity to interact. And then Teresa, when I started to ask you some more questions about what you do and why you do it, I was amazed. And I want to get to that element. Our listeners, the goal is to be able to learn about you, right? Teresa Rohr with Pink Pineapple Travel.
Correct.
The goal is then also to learn from you about why do you do what you do and what motivates you to do what you do? Because maybe your story is going to help inspire someone else to think differently, to do differently, to act differently, to take action. So we're going to start with you. And why did you get involved in the travel industry world? It's been about 5 years. Your poise and professionalism are just so delightful and curious. You could have chosen any industry. Why for the last 5 years did you choose the travel industry?
First of all, thank you for your kind words. It means a lot to me. So thank you. I actually was an elementary teacher for 12 years. I don't know if I had shared that with you previously.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I was an elementary teacher for about 12 years and I loved it. It was a passion of mine, got my master's in reading intervention, love helping children, helping families, helping people in general. And about, 5-ish years ago, I was having some health concerns and I just kind of thought, I feel like I need a change. So I had transitioned out of teaching right before pandemic times, and I transitioned into the travel world exactly in 2020 when pretty much travel had taken a halt along with the rest of the world. And so I wasn't sure, did I make the right change at the right time? Not sure, but I knew at the core of whatever I wanted to do, I wanted to help people. whether that meant planning your honeymoon. And a lot of my honeymooners, and I do book a lot of honeymoon travel, a lot of my honeymooners were first-time international travelers. And so really working with them on how do you get a passport? How do you navigate international travel? All the stuff like that. And then from there, it just blossomed into what it is now. But again, at the core of that, I just knew that I wanted to help people. And so why travel? I
Well,
love
no,
to travel.
and I want to pause right there, though. The element of helping people, where do you think that came from?
Gosh, I was just raised that way. I can still remember vividly when I was a little girl going with my dad to help our church deliver the Christmas gifts to some of the families that were a little bit less fortunate in our area. And that's something that was just instilled in me from a young age. And I always loved community service. I loved helping other people. And I've never lost that passion for it. I remember in 5th grade, my teacher had inspired us for National Make a Difference Day. And I had made pumpkin cookies for my grandfather's retirement home community. And I still remember being a 5th grader, like walking in so proud, so excited. And that just has carried on with me. If I ever find an opportunity where I can help somebody, it really fills my cup up, and I know it helps other people. And so that I take into my career, into my life, into pretty much anywhere that I can. And so it blended beautifully into the opportunities that I've had, both in the classroom and within the second career of travel.
You have siblings, correct?
I do. I'm the middle of 3 girls. Yes.
All right. And do they have a big heart to help others as well?
Oh, they do. My older sister, she's 2 years older. She was a labor and delivery nurse for years. Now she's home with her kids. They live out in Southern California, but she has a big heart for helping people as well. And then my younger sister, she's 5 years younger. She lives on the other side of the state in Michigan, and she also does any opportunity that she can to help other people. It's just the way we were raised. So it's just second nature to us.
Yeah. So from a profession, your parents, were they in the giving industry for a job? Did they give to people? Can you share?
Yeah, that's a great question. So my dad was an executive with an insurance company for a long time. He actually changed. He's now a Catholic deacon. So that's kind of interesting. So in his retired life, I guess you could say that's what he does now. And he's a chaplain for our local police department. But my mom, she always worked for our school, and she did secretarial work and all kinds of things. And she was also always very involved in volunteering with our school, the PTA, the PTO. We grew up seeing them lead with that type of lifestyle. And so it just felt very natural for us as well.
And do you miss teaching?
I do at times, not all the time. There's a lot of things with teaching that it's hard. The actual teaching, being with the kids, building that classroom community, the actual teaching part, I do miss from time to time. But because I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old, my 4-year-old, it's fun because we get to do so many learning opportunities. We're at all of the Mommy and Me library story times. We do the Mommy and Me. We did the Mommy and Me preschool. Now she's a big kid and she's in preschool solo, and I miss her terribly. But I still get that aspect of it with my own kids. And so I still have that piece, but I do miss it from time to time. I do. Yeah.
All right. So far, we're learning some nice things about you, that you like to give, you like to help others. You come from a family that likes to give and likes to help others. Have you ever dealt with situations in which maybe people were acting entitled? So these are the lessons that we're trying to share with our listeners. We know Teresa Rohr is a nice person. Great. What advice, and have you encountered people that were not nice to you, that were entitled, that were expecting something? And maybe it was at one point, maybe it was the parents of the students that you were teaching. Maybe it was administration in the travel world. Maybe it's a wealthy family and the billionaire grandfather is paying for their honeymoon trip and they think they should have everything. Can you share any examples? And then let's see what kind of conclusions we can share with our listeners.
Yeah, sure. I think that no matter what role we're in, we're all going to experience people who are entitled. I don't think anybody wakes up in the morning and feels like I'm going to have a bad attitude today, or I expect that somebody's going to do all of these things for me. I don't think anybody starts their day off that way. I truly think along the way during the day, either something happens to somebody and they're in a bad mood and they take it out on the next person, right? So I just look at that as an opportunity to kind of share kindness with them. There's an incredible book out there. It's a children's book and it's called One Smile. And if you haven't read it, check it out. And I might have even mentioned this to you at the kindness conference. I love this book because it talks about this little girl and how she shares a smile with this one person. And it shows the progression of how that all makes so many people's day brighter and better. And I think about the same with people who have entitled attitudes, because absolutely, I could tell you stories in both the teaching world and in both the travel world. But I think at the core of it, the details of the stories just aren't important. I think the most important part here is we can't get lost in the details. We have to figure out what we can do to lead with kindness and to do what other people don't. And your
Thank
words.
you. I was waiting for that plug.
Exactly,
7
to do what
minutes
other
in.
people don't, and to lead, yes, to lead with kindness, because it doesn't really matter how they treat you. They should treat you kindly, but if they don't, set an example. And that's how we were raised in our family, is to set that example. Yeah, and kill them with kindness.
Yeah. Okay. And Teresa, isn't that easier said than done?
It
You are a
is.
lovely, you're a nice Michigan, Midwestern,
Yeah.
and I'm being a little overly sarcastic in a good
No, I
way.
get it. I get it.
You're surrounded by nice. Oh, and you have the perfect, and I'm just making up stuff. You have the perfect life, and your dad is now involved with the local police department, and he's a deacon, and your mom was just always baking cookies. Okay, great. Fairy tale land. What about for those of us that are getting cut off in traffic every 7 seconds, and you have people calling and yelling at you every 10 minutes? What about them? Because you look very much, Teresa, especially whenever, not only now, but also when I met you, to me, you appear to be very calm and very much at peace, which is not an easy aura or an easy persona to be able to achieve. So this is meant to be a really massive compliment. It's not coming across the right way.
No, I understand where you're coming from. Thank you.
Yeah,
I do. No, I take that so much to heart. So thank you for that compliment. I am somebody who has struggled with anxiety my whole life. So I love that you say that I'm so calm. I work really hard at that. I'm somebody who I walk 6 miles a day. I practice yoga and meditation. I work really hard on that because anxiety was a difficult piece for me. And I would say even 5-7 years ago, that even just doing this would have made me so nervous that I probably wouldn't have done it. But I lead with the thought of, if things don't scare you, then maybe you're not taking enough risks, right? So anywho, when you're saying I look like I'm so calm and whatnot, I do appreciate that. When you're talking about people cutting you off in traffic and how do you keep so calm, cool, and collected? Oh, I get irritated. I'll let you know. I get irritated. But at the same time, you just never know what somebody's going through. You truly don't. And I can give you a good example of that. Back when I was 28, and I just turned 40 this year. Back when I was 28, my best friend had gotten diagnosed with a pretty rare form of cancer. And I just remember knowing what she was going through and seeing everything. And I would get so irritated by people in public. Gosh, they're acting so entitled. They're acting so rude. Like, how could they be acting like this when everything in their life is perfect? They're not dealing with cancer. They're not dealing with all these things that she was battling. And unfortunately, we lost her about 8 months after her diagnosis, which was a really pivotal point in my life in a lot of ways. Heartbreaking, but really challenged me, and I grew a lot stronger from it. But I just always remember how I felt looking at people out in public. And I've never lost that. So I always think, gosh, you never know what somebody's going through. Because if somebody had just looked at me at the store, they wouldn't have known that my heart was just breaking and I'm losing my best friend and whatnot. And so I always try and lead from the direction of, you just don't know what somebody's going through. And even though they might be being a terrible person to you in that moment, they could have just gone through something awful. And I try to give a lot of grace, especially where I can.
Yeah, not easy. And thanks for opening up and being vulnerable and sharing about your anxieties. And good to know that you work on it and it helps.
It does.
And so the lessons that I'm learning from you also, right? I've suffered from anxiety and panic attacks ever since I was a little kid with a unique out-of-body experience during nose surgery when I was 12 years old. And I share those stories because I want people to know I'm in front of stages with thousands and thousands of people. And I love it. I love it. But at a time, put me into the back of a department store without easy access to outside, and I might have a panic attack. So it's really unusual and unique. But I love the perspective, Teresa, the listeners are that if you have anxiety, if you're anxious about something, you can do things about it. And you did things about it.
Yes.
So well done. I did things about it. So you're not alone. We can figure things out. How are you able to be reminded when there are people that are perhaps not as kind to you? Is there, yes, and I'm so sorry that you lost your friend.
Oh, thank you.
Are there any things in particular that you say to yourself? Are there words? Are there mantras? Is there breathing techniques? How do you remember to stay focused on kindness and give grace to others? Is there a
Yeah.
way? I don't want to say a trick, but is there a tip?
Sure. That's a great question. When I have my kids with me, if we're driving, if it's something in the car, I always use it as a learning opportunity for my 4-year-old. If there's if somebody cuts us off in traffic or something, or somebody, has a mean look, or any situation like that happens, I try and use it as a learning opportunity and just talk her through it. Gosh, they're having a really hard day. What do you do when you have a hard day? Just walking her through those types of things.
Yeah.
That helps her, I'm sure, but it also helps me because it reminds me to take a step back and think about other people and not just, that I'm frustrated and I'm trying to make it to the post office in time or whatnot. And if I don't have her, a lot of times I'll just get up and go for a little walk or get a drink of water or look at family pictures, anything that kind of grounds me back to what is really important to them in that moment. So it might be something as simple as an airline canceled the flight and I have 100 clients supposed to be on this flight for a destination wedding. And it's, oh, you want to pull out your hair. But you just got to take a step back and remember, okay, this isn't life or death. We are going to take a minute, take a breath. We can solve this. And a lot of it is just talking out loud to myself, giving myself a little bit of a pep talk and just getting creative with it and getting back into it to solve the problem.
The example that you shared, Teresa, I really liked about trying to educate your daughter, your 4-year-old in particular, and I'm sure soon your 1-year-old as well, by focusing in on teaching, which you are,
right? Yeah.
Regardless, right? It doesn't matter what your title is. You are a teacher to your children. It allows us to get outside of our own head and our own thoughts and our own minds. What can I do to assist someone else? And in that example, you're taking frustration maybe that you would initially feel if you were by yourself and saying, let's talk it through. And then your focus is on educating and helping your daughter, which is that's a really good way of doing it. You also had shared a little bit whenever we met that part of your specialty is, and tell me if I'm using the right words, cancer travel.
Yes, wellness for cancer travel. Yes, I'm a cancer aware travel advisor. I have that special certification.
And say that one more time, cancer.
Yeah, cancer aware travel advisor.
Okay. I had never heard of it. And sadly, I'm sure many of our listeners, including me, we all have had friends just like you or relatives pass from cancer. And just about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, my father-in-law passed from cancer. So when we saw you, I don't know if we had even talked about it, but he was ill. So it was a joy that we could both be traveling together to Punta Cana. And then just like a couple of weeks ago, he had passed. But I had never heard of anyone with a focus rather appropriate to be talking at a kindness conference about what you can do to help people feel better when they're dealing with a horrible illness. Can you explain a little bit about, one, what that program is? What did you have to do achieve that designation? And then what are you doing to be able to help? Because I think it's truly had never been in the industry for a long time, never knew that there was a specification that people were trying to assist people with cancer. Can you share with our listeners? I'd like to give a shout out and a very big thanks to our sponsor for today's podcast episode. It is wishes.inc. Many people carry thoughts like, my small donation is not going to make a difference. I don't have enough money to help. People won't use the money wisely. Well, these are stories. These are not truths. What this organization has created, Wishes.inc, provides documentation and transparency showing you that every gift counts. You can literally see the impact. You can help instantly without red tape. And then generosity does not need to be complicated. It can be joyful, direct, and fulfilling. There's going to be a link to the website off of our show notes. But if you would like some more information, please go to wishes.inc.
Absolutely. First of all, I'm so sorry to hear about your father-in-law. That is just heartbreaking. And I'm so sorry to you and Terry. Yeah, I would love to talk about it. So about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, I had seen an opportunity for this Wellness for Cancer Travel Advisor course. And it had a decently healthy enrollment fee. And so I thought, gosh, I thought about it and I really thought about it. And I decided it was placed in my heart for a reason. There's a reason that I saw it and I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And we've had several family members battle cancer and pass away from cancer. And it's just something that I was just really interested in helping. I inquired about the course, and this wonderful creator of the course, her name is Julie Bach. She is incredible. She is a cancer life coach and a wellness coach, and she has created this beautiful course for travel advisors. And I was in the first cohort. So there's about a little bit less than 100 travel advisors internationally that have this certification now. But about a year ago, I was in the very first cohort of this. And so I'm very honored to be a part of it. And it took about 3 or 4 months to go through the course. We had worked with an oncologist named Dr. Single. She was amazing. And she really opened our eyes to what a cancer patient or a person influenced or touched by cancer is going through and why they would want to travel and all of the pieces that go into it, things that people might not even think about. Traveling through the airport with heavy medication, medical devices, finding resorts and spas that are certified in oncology massage. There's a lot of spas that don't have that certification. And so if you have a client who's touched by cancer who might be going through treatments and they want to have a massage, there's some spas and spa therapists that can't help them, unfortunately.
Cannot help them.
Yeah,
True.
they can't do that. Yeah, they can't do the massage for them if they don't have that special certification. So if you imagine, if you're wanting to this beautiful bucket list trip to say Fiji, and you get all the way there and you want to go to the spa, and if you're going through chemo, radiation, and if the spa therapist is not trained in oncology massage, a lot of times they will not be able to do it. So our job,
sorry. No, just I want to pause right there because I think it's very fascinating.
Yeah.
Why is there concern that the touching, the massaging would spread, change, alter some of the treatment? Is that why, the physical element of touch?
It could be a lot of factors, is what we were told. Yeah, it could be a lot of factors that they just, unless they are certified, that they're just not able to assist them. They could either make it worse or not help the symptoms or things like that. So they're just unfortunately not able to help them.
I guess that's if the patient, if the traveler is being honest and saying, I have cancer, I'd like to get a massage, versus not saying anything. But it sounds like, Teresa, there could be risk, and maybe that's a takeaway for all of our listeners, that there are certifications for massage therapists for individuals that are dealing with cancer.
Absolutely. Yep, there most definitely are. And then there are also pieces to this puzzle too about assisted devices. So if a person touched by cancer maybe is in a wheelchair now, or they just don't have the mobility, if they need to find a resort that has elevator access, or maybe they need a resort that has beach wheelchairs that they can use, or even floats for the ocean that are a little bit more accessible and things like that. I'm able to find all of these resorts. I can match them with most of them are wellness resorts that can focus on oncology massage if they need that, all the adaptations that they need, assisting them with TSA has a beautiful program called TSA Cares, and it helps them just navigate it in a little bit more of an empowered way and just give them a lot more information about their medications and all of that. It all falls under this really big umbrella, but at the core of it, just taking care of them as a person and not just as a patient. Because when somebody is battling cancer, so much of their life is spent just being the patient.
Yeah.
But what we can do as a cancer-aware travel advisor is really sit and listen. And part of the course was listening, active listening. And I got that at the Kindness Conference, a beautiful session there. But I also got this in the Cancer-Aware Travel course of really listening, honoring what they're looking for, and just assisting them with helping make memories with their families and search for that reconnection, while also building in an itinerary and all the adaptations to make it a successful trip for them in whatever way that they are wanting it to be.
No, incredible. So things that I'm learning that as remind me, say the designation one more time, Teresa.
Yes, Cancer-Aware Travel Advisor.
Cancer-Aware Travel Advisor. Things that you were able to help them with. It's activities, wellness-related activities, including something as simple as basic as massage therapy, or advising them on the ease of travel, accessibility, traveling with medicines, traveling with if there's equipment, anything along those lines.
Exactly.
And then probably the greatest part of it, and I know you help all of your customers this way, it's what do you want to be able to experience?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And just as you share that, Teresa, it reminds me, I had to be very empathetic, right, when my father-in-law was going through this. And sadly, my mother-in-law also had passed away years ago of lung cancer. So we know it affects tons and tons of people. But just recently, I had to be sensitive when I was speaking to my father-in-law that it wasn't about how are you feeling today. Maybe that's an okay question for you and I.
Sure.
But if we know that he's sleeping all day, if we know that he just went to the ER yesterday, he's probably not feeling great. Let's talk about, hey, I'm going to come over and I'm going to make some breakfast. I'm thinking about making some blueberry pancakes. Do you remember when we made blueberry pancakes when we all went to the beach in Cancun that one year? Changing the topic and being reminded, and I don't want to dance around my words. I'm just going to tell you what I'm thinking. Treating an individual as a person, not a person that has cancer. Treating an individual as a human being, not someone that has this affliction, this illness, this ability, or this disability. Let's put that aside. We can figure that out, but tell me what you want to do on your trip.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that has been the biggest blessing, I would say, out of this for me personally, listening to my clients with cancer or who've been touched by cancer. And we like to say clients who've been touched by cancer rather than cancer patient, cancer client.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I should have picked up on that.
Oh, no, you're totally fine. But that's something we learned in the beginning of this course. And it really opened my eyes. And the reason I say that is because I'm catching myself, but it makes sense, right? Because not only is the person personally affected by cancer who has it, but their spouse also. And from being a family member of someone who's been touched by cancer, that it's not just that person who's going through the treatments. It changes and it shifts the whole family structure. And I absolutely love, honestly, it gave me a little lump in my throat when you talked about making blueberry pancakes and talking about the memories in Cancun. I love that piece of it, the memories. And that's why I love what I do with travel. And you can do it on any budget. A lot of people think, if we don't have a big budget, we can't go on these trips. And we always think we want to make memories with our kids. We don't want to give them all the stuff. We want to give them the memories. And when I think to my clients who've been touched by cancer, when I'm talking to them and finding out what do they love, what memory do they want to revisit? What do they want to share with their family members? A lot of that it's inspiring, truthfully. It's inspiring. And it reminds me as a mom with little kids of what actually matters. And it really grounds me in what I do personally and what I do professionally. And it's beautiful. And I think at the end of the day, that is probably the most influential part of this job for me. And I'm so incredibly thankful that I saw this opportunity for this travel advisor course, because these are some clients that maybe I wouldn't have met otherwise. I was able to assist a family with a destination wedding, and one of the members of the wedding couple was battling cancer at the time. And just to think about this beautiful wedding and trip and all of these memories that they were able to do and still feel well enough to enjoy it, it was just beautiful. So I love that you honored him with the blueberry pancakes. I think that's just beautiful.
Yeah, and that's just one example. And
Sure.
I don't really remember if it was blueberry pancakes, but something along those lines. But the thought process was there. Talk about something other than not feeling well. Teresa, the one example that you just shared with a destination wedding and a member of the party the family was able to go and enjoy. Are there any other stories, without sharing specifics, any other stories that have touched your heart that is a good reminder, again, as to what you do and why you do it?
Yeah, absolutely. Off the top of my head, yes, we have a lot of multi-gen trips, right? So multi-generational. So we have the grandparents and the parents and the grandchildren. There's one trip in particular that jumps out to me, and it was this beautiful trip to the Dominican Republic. And they didn't know if they could make it happen because they didn't have big budget. They were really nervous about it. And we were able to make it happen. And it was a simple trip, but it was wonderful. And I just remember how nervous the matriarch of this whole group was. And I just love afterwards, she kept sending me photos and sending more photos and more photos. And if you looked at the photos, the smiles and the joy to me meant everything in the world. And I love when my clients share photos with me, especially for my families who've been touched by cancer, because seeing those photos make every moment of all the accommodations worth it. Because there are a lot of extra steps with this, and extra steps that take quite a bit of time, but that I'm honored to do because I understand that I'm able to give this gift and to help them. But yeah, this particular family, I'll probably always remember them with the Dominican Republic, and just the smiles were just beautiful. And that's probably the biggest thing for me, is just to see the photos of people enjoying life and knowing that those kids are always going to remember that trip.
Yeah, and maybe it is the grandmother that they didn't think could be there for their granddaughter's wedding in Dominican Republic. And thanks to people like you, Teresa Rohr, they've been able to do it. And then think about the wedding photos that the married couple have because their grandmother was able to do it because you were able to help them. Teresa, this element of listening and this element of handling families and individuals that have been touched by cancer, excuse me, has it helped you, or how has it helped you, if it has, in dealing with other customers that perhaps are not talking to you because they need assistance because they were touched by cancer? Does that make sense?
A little bit. So
do you want me to back up?
Yeah, if you don't mind. Sorry.
Okay. Yes, your empathy, your listening skills, the uniqueness of what you have learned through this program to be able to care for and help and accommodate and service people that have been touched with cancers, whether it's them or their guests or their family members. Has that helped you in the non-touched by cancer patients? Because you are not only helping cancer-related travel, you are also helping people that are not touched by cancer. So the training, the skills that you've learned, has it helped you on the other side execute a destination wedding, and how?
Absolutely. So I book all kinds of travel, right? Family vacations, honeymoons, destination weddings, spring break trips, you name it. And yes, it's helped me in a big way because things like, accommodations, right? So if you have a client who maybe has some mobility issues and might benefit from a scooter or having an assisted device brought to the resort, a lot of people don't know that there are companies, even in a lot of the Caribbean islands or places that you wouldn't think you'd be able to rent these devices. I have a whole network full of support now where I can contact and find anything that I need. For example, there was a trip this past summer where the family wasn't touched by cancer or anything like that, but the mom had a bit of a knee injury before the trip, and they thought they were going to have to cancel. And I said, hold on, if you want to cancel, I totally understand and respect that. But if you still want to make this trip happen, what if we look into some of these assisted devices? And they were able to make it happen. And they had a great time. So learning all of those accommodations has really been beneficial for all of my clients, but not just that, really understanding where they're coming from and the listening skills and just that empathy piece, taking it into every trip has been huge for me. Truthfully,
and I can tell that's what my guess was, because you are great at listening and you're great at over delivering and you're great at so many things. The empathy element, whether you're helping people with mobility or touched by cancer or not, I know you're asking the right questions. I know you care about asking the right questions. You are an expert in so many different destinations. You now have a new network of people to be able to assist. And my other takeaway is that people that are listening, and there's two other components. I wanted people to get to know you as a person. Thank you. I wanted them to be inspired by your success. And then lastly, I want them to be able to help you grow your business professionally so you can help more people. And I think we've outlined a great opportunity that if they're traveling somewhere and they have a family member that's touched by cancer, we'll share your details, of course, and also in the show notes. I want them to reach out to you, and I want you to be even more busy than ever before, because I think it's so extremely important. Other things that I was hearing from you, Teresa, is that people don't need a massive budget to be able to travel, whether it's touched by cancer, mobility, not mobile, it doesn't matter, correct?
Correct. It doesn't matter. No, you can travel pretty much any budget. We book everything from domestic trips to international trips, and truly it's a lot more affordable than people think. But we always encourage people to think when they contact us, we're like, this is an investment in your memories. And so maybe the trip is 2 years down the road, but let's start getting the ball rolling so we can get everybody feeling comfortable with everything from getting a passport if it's an international trip to the accommodations that they might need for any special services, or if it's just a family and they're not touched by cancer and they don't need any special accommodations, maybe it just gives them extra time to save to make this trip happen. But absolutely.
Good idea. And Teresa, are there any destinations? I know we love ALG vacations, love Hyatt hotels. We love a lot of providers. Are there any destinations that you're considered an expert on, or can someone call you? As an example, on Saturday, I fly to Saudi Arabia.
Oh, wonderful.
And I've never been to Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Yeah, it's going to take me over 20 hours to get there, and I get to speak for 30 minutes, but it's a kickoff keynote speech, so I'm very excited about it. I've never been there before. It's an honor to be included and invited. But just that, thank you. Just that as an example, what destinations, because I probably should have called you before, what destinations, destinations do you know, are you considered an expert on, or how would you answer that?
Yeah, that's a great question. Congratulations. Saudi Arabia is going to be amazing. My brother-in-law has spent some time over there for work and he loved it as well. I am not an expert in Saudi Arabia, but I am an expert in the Caribbean and Mexico, Hawaii, Alaska, the domestic US. I do book quite a bit all over the world, but those are the areas that I am an expert in. I have all of the certifications for that area. So the Caribbean, Mexico, Hawaii, Alaska, those are my I don't want to say my favorites if I'm playing favorites, but those are the ones that I know so well and I love to book. The nice thing is our travel agency, Pink Pineapple Travel, we have agents who specialize, we're a small agency, but we have agents who specialize all over the world. We have a girl on our team that actually lived in Italy. And so she understands it beautifully and can answer a million questions about it. We have a girl that lived in Africa, and so she can answer a million questions about Africa. So the nice thing is on our team, if I don't know an area super well, I will get that certification, most definitely. But there are agents on our team to assist at that time. But for me personally, my favorites, most definitely the Caribbean and Mexico.
And Teresa, if I'm just an individual traveler, can I reach out to you?
Absolutely.
If I'm a group, can I reach out to you?
Absolutely. I book a lot of groups. Yeah.
Okay. And the best way to reach out to you, to connect with you, is it through your email address
Through
or
my
through the website, or what would
yeah.
you suggest? Because I want millions of people to reach out to you.
You're so kind. Thank you. And I promise to take care of them so well. I definitely take referrals to heart. So thank you for that. But yes, my email address, and I also have a jot form, which is just a link that you can fill in information and I can send you a free customized quote. There's no obligation. You can just take a peek at it. We can schedule a discovery call and we can just chat and you can tell me all about what you're looking for, your hopes and dreams for your vacation. And then I can really get to know you as a person and plan your trip a little bit better. But I can send you both of those links so that way people can find me a little
Yeah,
easier.
perfect. And Teresa, Teresa at
Correct.
pinkpineappletravel.net. Did I get
Correct.
it right?
Yes, that
Okay,
is correct.
fantastic. Two last questions for you, Teresa.
Okay.
You, and I have it here somewhere. I'm using it as a bookmarker for one of the books that I'm reading, and I just can't find the right book. You sent me a card after we met, and it was one of the nicest cards I've ever received. Not because it had butterflies on the outside. I don't even remember what it had on the outside, but it was the message that was inside. And it wasn't just a signature, and it wasn't just a line or two. It was heartfelt, significant, thoughtful conversations, sharing such niceties with me. Thank you for that.
That's sweet. Thank you.
Why did you do that, Teresa Rohr?
I'm somebody who I love to write handwritten cards. I do. I see a lot of benefit in them. When I was growing up, my mom would always instill that in us of writing handwritten thank you cards. And it's something that I've never stopped doing. I love to do it. But especially when I've interacted with somebody who truly made a difference in my life and helped change a thought process or something like that for me. And that was my experience with you. Your session was so incredible. I remember walking in and sitting at that front table, and I could just tell from the moment you started talking that this was going to be a pivotal point, even in my career, in my professional life. I could just tell that what you were going to say was going to make an impact on me. And I remember like opening my notebook, Forever the Teacher, and like jotting notes, and I have them and they're highlighted and I still have it on my desk. I have the kind word. I have it literally taped to my computer, and your session meant a lot to me. And I think a lot of times as we go through our days, we'll encounter people that make a difference or that make us smile. And we don't always take that time to let them know that. And so for me, as soon as I came home from that conference, I thought, gosh, I want to send my thoughts, not in an email. I want to send my thoughts in a handwritten card. I feel like it's a dying art, but it matters and it makes an impact. And I feel like it's something that I can do that a lot of people maybe don't, but maybe they will. So for me, that's why I did it. You made a difference to me. And I thought, gosh, what can I do to show him that he mattered and what he did mattered? And so I'm so thankful that you were appreciative of it.
Right. And I really am. And thank you. We just covered the last question that I asked, and I'll see if you have any other responses to it.
Sure.
But because of the name of our company, the book, the podcast is about most people don't. What I'm learning from you is you care, you learn, you listen, you help, you follow up, you show gratitude by writing handwritten cards. So most people don't do those things.
Right.
And this conversation, because I'm holding on to that card, it did mean something for me to receive it. I'm so grateful. Is there anything, just to fill in the blank, that you think we could learn from? Most people don't. What else? Blank. Most people don't blank that you've seen that we could do.
Yeah, I think that's a hard question because I'm not somebody that likes to think, oh, I do something great that other people don't. I think that a lot of people, especially in a sales industry, because looking at travel, it is a sales industry. I think a lot of people don't go that extra mile for their clients when it doesn't add to the bottom line. So for me, It doesn't matter to me if I'm making any extra, if I am getting them that beach adaptable wheelchair or the float for the ocean or whatnot. We don't make commission on those things, and that's okay, because to me, that doesn't matter. I care way more about their memories, their photos, what, they're going to be able to pass on in stories to their family members than I care about the commission on a beach wheelchair. At the end of the day, that doesn't matter. And so I think at the core of who I am, I'm not a salesperson. That's just not who I am. I'm more kindness and community driven, and I just want to help people.
Yeah. And because that is your true self, that's why you are going to continue to get more and more opportunities and more business and more revenue, not because of the paycheck or not necessarily because of the revenue. That's not what you're seeking. You're seeking to be able to help more and more people.
Absolutely.
When the universe knows that, and they do, Teresa Rohr, the universe is going to deliver. I reached out to you, and there's a few other lovely people, right, from our kindness conference that I have on the docket that I want to ask.
Oh, great.
But I sensed exactly who you are from the moment that I met you, and I wanted to showcase you. That maybe this platform is the universe saying, Bart has a pretty cool podcast, top 2 to 5% of the world. Yeah. Let's get Teresa Rohr on there to talk about doing what most people don't do. Let's get her to talk about cancer travel, because I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And let's have you be exposed and our listeners be exposed to you and doing what you're doing, so you can then help more people enjoy and create memories that perhaps with someone that's not an expert like you wouldn't be able to deliver. That's full circle. That's so cool and so full circle.
It really is. It really is. I'm so honored for this opportunity to be on here and to chat about it and to let people know that even if you are somebody that's touched by cancer, you still can travel. In the course, Julie Bach had said, people tend to think of cancer as curable or not curable, but there's a third view called living. You don't have to stop living just because you are touched by cancer. And I have that up here too. I have that quote because it makes a difference. And I like to remind the clients of that. But I also understand I personally haven't dealt with battling cancer. So I also make sure that they understand that I don't know what it's like to be in their shoes. And so they can lead and guide me with what feels safe and feels comfortable to them. But I'm so honored to be able to share that this is even a possibility. And I'm thrilled for the opportunity. And I would love to help anybody who's looking for some help.
Thank you, Teresa. And we always try to find a word or two or a phrase that is going to be the subject for this podcast. Keep living, keep traveling, keep experiencing. Something along those lines will come out. I really want people to understand just what you shared.
I love
that. It's not just living with cancer. It's not just dying with cancer. It's living with cancer.
Living with cancer. Absolutely.
While you are here, let's make more blueberry pancakes. Let's travel. Let's go to the granddaughter's wedding. Let's go to Punta Cana. Let's do all the things that we can do. That's truly living. All right. Cannot thank you enough. Teresa Rohr, ROHR. Travel designer, Pink Pineapple Travel Company. Teresa at pinkpineappletravel.net. Cannot wait to see how many more people you're able to help. To our listeners, please connect with her. Send her links, opportunities, referrals, so people can continue living even better.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You are welcome, Teresa.
All right. Thank you.